So graphing on the coordinate plane ties into integers, because as you can see, this coordinate plane has 4 quadrants. This one over here in the upper right-hand side is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3. This is quadrant 4. So just like when we're adding and subtracting integers, we have a number line. Here's one axis with numbers on it. Here's another axis with numbers on it. The one that goes across is the x. The one that goes up and down is y. Okay, so remember x across, y to the sky. Okay, the point in the middle is called the point of origin. Okay, and then along the x-axis, when you go to the right, all the numbers are positive, just like when we're talking about adding and subtracting integers on a number line. Here's 0 in the center. When you go left on the x-axis, your numbers get negative. Okay, on the y-axis, when you go up, it's positive. When you go down, it's negative. Okay, so graphing on a coordinate plane ties into adding and subtracting integers. Now, whenever you have an ordered pair, it's always going to have an x and a y. The x always comes first, the y always comes second. So if I were to graph a coordinate in the quadrant 1, okay, right there at that point, on the x-axis, I go over to the 3. Okay, so it's 3 on the x, and then when I look over at the y, it's 4 on the y. So that ordered pair would be 3, 4. That represents 3 on the x-axis and 4 on the y-axis. It's called an ordered pair, and this is called graphing the coordinate. Okay, say I was given an ordered pair and I had to graph it. An example of an ordered pair would be -2, -5. Okay, in this one, they're both negative. So on the x-axis, when it turns negative, it's going left. Just like when you're subtracting integers, you go left when you're subtracting. Okay, so the -2 is right here. And then on the y-axis, I'm going to go down when I get into the negative. So it's a -5 on the y. So I'm going to go down to -5, and I'm still at the -2 on the x. And that now I've graphed that ordered pair. There's the coordinate, -2, -5. And it's always written x and then y. Okay, if I were to graph -5, 8, I would go to the -5 on the x, and then I would go up 8 on the y. And that's where my coordinate goes, right there. So that's -5, 8. Okay, and then if I was given a letter to represent this coordinate, like A, to graph that point and label it, I would put an A right by that point. Okay, if you're graphing a coordinate that has 0 in it, for example, 0, -3, that's 0 on the x-axis. That means it doesn't go off the x-axis to the left or to the right. It stays on it. Okay, but it's going to go down -3 on the y. So my point is going to stay at 0 on the x and go down to -3 on the y. Okay, now conversely, if you had, say, a -4, 0, that's going to be -4 on the x, but 0 on the y. So it doesn't go up or down on the y-axis at all. And I'm going to put a point right there, that's called graphing that coordinate, at the -4. So it's -4 on the x, 0 on the y. Okay, and sometimes ordered pairs will be written in a table. Tables can have sets of ordered pairs, and they look like this. 1, 2, 0, 3. They could be any numbers, any sets of coordinates. Okay, these still represent ordered pairs. This first one would be 1, 2. The second one would be 0, 3. The third one would be -2, -3. Okay, so ordered pairs can be written in both of those ways. Okay, the set of x ordered pairs, all of the x coordinates are called the domain. The set of all the y coordinates, when you have a set like that in a data table, are called the range.